Welcome. My name is Stephen Stump, and we're here with Councilmember David Rhoads. David, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, Stephen. Yourself?
Good.
You doing all right?
Very well. So what made you decide to go into being on the city council?
Well, actually, Pat Little asked me if I would run for city council a number of years ago. I had not ever even thought about doing it until he asked. And so I was pleased and honored that he had asked me, and I talked with my wife, Leslie, because that's an important thing to do if you're thinking about running for city council, and some other friends, and they encouraged me to go ahead and run. So I did and was successful in that effort. And just now starting my third term, so I'm beginning year number 5.
Gotcha. So then that makes, so you still got, I mean, when would re-election time be coming around then, or is that?
2 years, yeah,
2 years
for me.
still.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're 2-year terms.
Gotcha.
So.
I understand. Cool. So were you on other committees and stuff leading up to this, or did Mr. Little just kind of come talk to you out of the blue? Were you on any of the zoning boards or that type of stuff, or?
I was on some other community organizations and boards, and I'm fairly active in the community, so I think that's probably how Pat Little came to me.
Gotcha. Understand. So I know a little bit behind you of you doing your other business on the other side. I mean, is it mostly the remodeling business then? Because I forget your company's name. I apologize.
But that's okay. A lot of people forget it. It is HSA Remodeling, which stands for Homeowner Services of America. But it didn't take me too long being in business to realize that was too long to write out all the time. So we went to HSA.
Gotcha. And
And then I also have First Design Cabinetry. Both of those businesses are located in the same building, 199 West Michigan Avenue.
Gotcha.
And that's where I have a small showroom.
Okay.
So that's what allows me to do what I do within the community.
Gotcha. No, I understand. So how much, I mean, I know city council's got to be kind of a full-time job. Is that kind of a juggling act there between the two businesses and doing city council and trying to stay up with what Lansing's trying to throw at you guys and everything else?
It often is. And I usually think that I'm pretty good at juggling various things, because within my business, that's what I oftentimes have to do, is juggle schedules and materials and labor and that kind of thing. But at the current time, I think I might have dropped 1 or 2 of those balls that I'm trying to juggle. But I'm working at it, and it does require a lot of time and effort. I'm fortunate in that I have no children at home, and so I don't have that requirement on my time. Also very fortunate that my wife Leslie is fairly active in the community herself, and so between the two of us, we sometimes have to reintroduce ourselves to each other because we're so busy during the week, but it's all good.
I understand. Makes sense. So if somebody wanted to get into council and wanted to run, any suggestions or advice you'd give someone as they're possibly getting into the public service realm here of city council and city of Saline?
Well, I think the first thing that they should do is apply to be appointed to one of the various commissions or task forces that the city has. And there is a form that one uses to apply for that. It's online, the city website. Fill it out, indicate the areas of interest, and then we are almost always in need of volunteers to serve on various commissions and whatever. So chances are, if a person wants to be on a particular commission, they could be within a year, and then they could spend some time doing that, begin to get some insights into how city government works, and of course to attend, if possible, the city council meetings, planning commission meetings. All of those meetings are open to the public, and we would like to see more public participation. So even if you don't have a particular interest in the item that's on the agenda, it still is worthwhile just to come and listen and watch how things happen, how decisions are made. And each of those public meetings has an opportunity for anyone in attendance to make a comment about almost anything at the end of that meeting. And so, one should. Residents ought to get involved in their governance.
I understand. Any plans on going past city council? Anything looking statewide or staying more local to Saline? Any ideas with that with the different government offices?
I would not even begin to think about doing anything on a statewide issue. That is such a problem, and it's so expensive to get elected to one of those positions. That'd be way beyond me. But I have been asked several times by a couple groups of people to consider running for mayor. And I believe our current mayor, as good a job as she has done, I suspect that she's getting closer to the point where she's willing to turn over the reins to somebody else. So depending on circumstances, I may very well find myself running for mayor in the next election.
I understand. So did you grow up in Saline, or what brought you to the little neck of woods of Saline, Michigan here?
Well, I didn't grow up in Saline. Was born in Illinois. My parents moved to Texas when I was in first grade, so that's where I grew up. Went in the Army, went around to a lot of different places. Got out of the Army, went to work for Bechtel Power Corporation, and that's what brought me to Ann Arbor back in 1972 when Bechtel Power came to town. It's a big engineering firm, and they were doing nuclear power plants, which was a big thing at that point in time. And then they ramped down, and so in 1985, I struck out on my own. I had an opportunity to transfer to the home office, Bechtel home office in San Francisco, decided I didn't want to do that. So I started my own business of remodeling activities. And that was mostly up in Ann Arbor, where I lived at that point in time and where most of my work was. And then in '99, decided that I would bring my business to Saline, because there seemed to be an opening, a need for remodeling contractors and cabinet shops in Saline at that point. So I moved my business here in '99, met my lovely wife-to-be shortly thereafter, and then we married in, I'm going to be in trouble here if I don't get this right, 2002, and moved to Saline at that point in time. So I have lived in Saline since 2002.
Gotcha. I understand. So you touched a little bit on the military and being that. Did you go to college after being out of the military, or kind of get into the workforce then and go from there?
I've actually attended 2 different colleges over the years, and while I was active in other things, either while I was in the military or while I was working. So I've studied business management at University of Maryland and at Eastern Michigan.
Gotcha. So I imagine that's helped out a bit with the city, and also, I mean, with your business, of course, but with the city and the budget and how understanding some of that. Because I've listened to some of those meetings, and there's a lot of figures and numbers in different areas, and it's like, if you're not big in the numbers and financial part, you could get a little lost in some of that. So has that helped out a little bit of bringing a little bit of that side to it?
It has, yeah, quite a bit. Because as you said, there's a lot of budgetary information that goes on within the city, because many of our decisions are based on finances. And we get packets ahead of time that we're able to study and ask questions about. And I would imagine that for an individual like yourself who is maybe watching a recording of it, it must seem really confusing because you haven't had the benefit of that advanced information. So yeah, that has helped me. My almost 70 years of life experience has helped me.
So I know technology is a big thing that's been out in the news. I mean, you hear stars doing something stupid on Facebook and Twitter, and people getting fired over stuff they do and stuff. Do you see that with the technology being there able for you guys to communicate out to citizens better, or citizens to communicate you better, or is it still kind of more of a face-to-face? Saline's kind of still in that position where we're not a mega city, that still being able to see people out on the streets kind of the best way of communicating?
Well, much of my interaction with the citizens is in fact face-to-face, because I'm out and about in the community, because I work in the community also as well as live here. We have started to use more of the technology. I got a brand new phone this morning that is now off trying to get fixed so I can figure out how to use it. And I have a Facebook page, and I believe that we are trying to look at the possibility of live streaming of city council meetings, and I think that it would be a good idea if we had the ability for citizens who are watching our city council meetings to text in questions, inquiries, and so it's actual interaction, one-on-one at that point in time. Haven't gotten there yet. Not sure if that would ever actually work, but it seems like it ought to. It's difficult for people to come to city council and sit in on those meetings sometimes because of schedules, but certainly they could watch it online from home or their business place or whatever.
Well, that makes sense. That would make a lot of sense. So I know this is probably the harder question I ask a lot of the city council members. favorite event of Saline. Everyone says there's a lot and there's a lot of fun, and for being someone that's out and filming and documenting a lot of them, I totally agree. But is there anyone that stands out in your mind any more than any other one?
That is a difficult question, and I could see where the immediate response would be, you know, I can't really pick one out because there's so many of them that are great, and in fact there are. But my favorite event is actually not an event, it's a series of, and it's Saline Leadership Institute, which starts in April with a 2-day retreat and then meets 1 day a month for the next 9 months. We're presently accepting applications for class number 14. So there are something over 300 individuals who have gone through Saline Leadership Institute. And I think it's one of the reasons why Saline is such a great community. There's not only the networking that happens, there's also the personal development. The program is based on Peter Senge's 5 disciplines, and it's an amazing series of events for about 25 people in each class over those 10 months.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's something for me. It's never even been on my radar, or even, you know, that's kind of a newer thing. So very cool. No, very cool. And I guess, as you know, you kind of already talked a little bit earlier about running again. That, I mean, if things happen, are you thinking possibly at least see about running for city council if nothing else changes, or just kind of wait and review, or?
Yeah, I would probably run again for city council if circumstances were such that that was an appropriate thing to do.
Understand?
Yeah, not
Cool.
quite ready to give up on my city municipality responsibilities. I think there are some things that we can do to help.
Oh, understand. Well, is there anything else you'd like to inform the Saline community about, or talk about with other things going on?
Well, it's a great community. You know, I've been really happy having lived here. And when I talk to new individuals who are coming to town and I ask them what brought them to Saline, most often what they say are the schools. And so I think that's very important for us to keep the schools in a very premier position. And then after that is a kind of the general statement about quality of life. And we have a good quality of life here in Saline. We have, you know, it's a small community still, and so there's an opportunity to get to know people, there's an opportunity to get involved. And if someone wants a cultural event or whatever that we don't offer here, you know, Ann Arbor's 15 minutes away. So we have all those benefits.
I understand. Cool. Well, Mr. Rhoads, thank you for coming in and doing this interview with us. And
you're very welcome.
That has been our interview with Councilmember David Rhoads.
This has been an SCTN production.